I remember back in March of 2020 when COVID hit the Bay Area and we wanted to escape and of course go skiing. So we packed up and decided to go for just a weekend. And once we got there, we got just a few turns in and the resort closed. So we were disappointed. We went back to our hotel and we had to decide if we were going to return to the Bay Area where COVID was exploding or if we were going to go to Utah, and that's where I'm from, and to hopefully ski a little bit there. So we made a list of pros and cons of this decision and we decided to pray about it to decide what we should do. And I remember before we had that prayer, I felt just a lot of warmth and comfort and calm, and it was a physical feeling that went from the top of my head down to the tips of my toes, and I knew that that was Heavenly Father saying that going to Utah was the right. So after the prayer, we all fortunately decided that Utah was the place to go. So we headed out, and within an hour of that drive, I started to have some stomach pain, but I didn't think much of it. I thought maybe it's something I'd ate or, just sitting for a long time. But after we got to Utah, about 3 days later, this pain went from just a little bit of pain to not being able to walk. So I drove myself to the ER and found out that I had colon cancer. So that was a bit shocking because I didn't have any symptoms up to that point. It was really unexpected. And I remember when the doctor came in and proceeded to tell me all these things that were unknowns, like did I have 2 cancers and had it spread, and what procedures I would need to do, would I have surgery, chemotherapy, just all these unknowns. And the first thing he said to me was, I have to be honest, you're a hot mess. And I remember when he left, I was by myself because it was COVID, so you couldn't have anybody with you, and just kind of took everything in. And it was the first time I realized that this could really be a messy situation. I remember just having a really open and candid conversation with my Heavenly Father and just really handing over the situation and just telling him that if it was going to be messy, that I would take that path. If it was going to be less messy, I'd be happy for that path. But I just trusted whatever path I needed to go down would be the path I was supposed to. So I moved forward with a lot of faith and a lot of hope and just letting God prevail in that situation. And the next year was a bit of a whirlwind with procedures and chemo and surgery, and I have to say, having cancer during COVID is a bit interesting because you're by yourself for all your appointments and all your treatment. But I have to say, even though I was alone, I don't think I ever felt lonely. And I really sought out God's tender mercies, and I watched for those in my life. And sometimes it was just what a nurse would say or what the doctor, how he would assure me that everything was going to be okay, or a text or a phone call or a package that was sent. And all these things just reminded me that God was aware of me. In fact, I was just thinking today, I wear this necklace. It has a little rainbow on it. And there was a time my husband had picked me up from the hospital and we were driving home and entering the valley where I was staying in Utah. I ended up staying there for 1.5 years to have my treatment. And as we're coming down the hill into this valley, there was this huge rainbow that went from one side of the valley to the other side. And my husband and I just looked at it in awe, and it disappeared as quickly as it appeared. And I just felt like it was God just assuring me that he was there for me and that he was taking care of me. So I wear this little necklace not to just remind me of that tender mercy, but all the tender mercies that assured me during that time as I was trying to let him prevail. So fortunately, I am in remission of my cancer, and I was diagnosed early. And sometimes we go through things that you don't want to repeat, and cancer would be one of those for me. But I have to say, cancer is also a beautiful teacher. And I think one of the biggest things I learned was that as we let God prevail in our lives, then we can have calm and peace and assurance during those times. And I remember someone saying, sometimes God calms the storms and sometimes he lets the storm rage and he calms the child. And I feel like as we let God prevail in our lives, that no matter the storm or the path that we go down, that He can offer us peace and strength and courage during those times.